or deal with can get this type of money down on college basketball first halves, college basketball, smaller schools, conferences, 275K South Alabama first half versus Southern Miss. And I wanted to ask Yanni, are those realistic? Because Yanni's as good a bettor as we know. Yanni gets, he really is. Can you get down 424,000 on Kent State first half versus Buffalo, or 458,000 on Towson and NCAT, AT&T? Are those realistic or are those nonsense?
You can't walk up to the window and bet 400,000 unless you have a big history at the tables. Like if you've lost millions of dollars at the tables, then they may extend you that at the window. Otherwise, you're not getting that at the window. No chance. The only place you're getting that is through the on screen. The only place you're getting that is through the big books that guys like us get kicked out of, that have big history of losing accounts. Because I know the guys that I work with will buy those accounts. Like if you have a guy that's lost millions of dollars to DK or FanDuel or Caesars or one of those, we will take that account and bury it for you and split that, chop that money up with you. Those are the only type of accounts you could get that type of money down. Otherwise, you're going to destroy that line. Like you're right, Teddy. You can't get down 400,000 on a first half without destroying the market. Like you can't put that in a bot and even go off screen with it without it demolishing the market. It's just not going to happen. You're going to have to hit the screen and then it's going to go all nuts. Like that's not happening. So I think the only way to get that kind of money is through those type of accounts that have that long history of losing, and they take those kind of figures. Because you got to remember, they extend that kind of credit. There are guys out there that are betting that need six figures every game, that bet 500,000 a game. Someone's booking that, and they're booking that stuff offshore from them guys. It's, can you infiltrate one of them and get one of those whale accounts, we call them? Like, can you get a whale account? That's the only way. Otherwise, I can't. Like I said, I have 20 accounts, Teddy, and at the end, I could maybe get you 10 dimes down on something.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's realistic. You know,
Yeah.
10 dimes, maybe get 20 dimes. Again, we're not talking about
on like sides and totals, yeah, but like first halves, that team totals, if I could get you 10, like, yeah, that's good.
And Andy, I don't mean to hijack, but there's one more thing I want to bring up here because it's important to note. We're talking about 29 games fixed over a 2-year span. Okay, so that's about about 25,000 games total. Johnny, I want to ask you, do you think that's realistic long-term? Do you think that's been going on forever and we just are finding out about it now because it's legalized and regulated and there are agencies that report this stuff? Whereas this level of corruption has always been in existence in college basketball, but now there's a spotlight on it.
Dude, you got the perfect guy on. That's why Teddy's been doing this. He's seen this evolution from the very beginning. So he knows exactly what's happening. Nothing's changed, except there's more ability because now you have it, just like more people are smoking weed than ever before because there's a dispensary at every corner. If there wasn't, some people that now are smoking cannabis probably never would. And it's the same with the gambling. Now it's easier for these guys to do something like that. But it's like a business factoring in pilferage. You know your employees are going to steal. Like when I ran a pizza shop, I knew we're going to factor in 5 to 7% is going to theft. They're giving their friends free food, they're stealing free food, or they're taking a 20 out of the cash register. That's going to happen. Whether you're at a clothing store, whether you're at a supermarket, no matter. Pilferage is going to happen. And with sports betting, you're going to get those bad apples that are going to have corruption, and it's going to be that small percentage, like Teddy said. But now there is that spotlight, and they're catching it, where before it just went unnoticed.
This is good, not bad.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's a negative. I think it's a positive. Now, granted, there's also probably some that got away with it also, but that's always been the case, you know? I don't think it's as widespread as they're making it.
No, it's because this story gets all the headlines. So that's, and then it's like a legit tiny itty bitty, like piece of the puzzle. So it's not like this happening.
It's like when a game lands on the number and we're like, how does Vegas know? But we don't talk about the other 14 games on that Sunday that didn't even come near the number. You know what I mean?
It's so true. It's so true. All right, Teddy, thank you. We're gonna Teddy's gonna come back. He's gonna break down games. We're gonna do sell me in the NBA. Real quick in the chat, pick a game for me and Teddy to do sell me. I think there's a pretty obvious one on the board. I think it's the Pacers Pelicans. But if you guys want another NBA game, I'll give you some nominees here. Pick between Wizards and Kings, Pelicans and Pacers. Yeah, just pick between those two games. Let me know in the chat, and Teddy and I'll break that one down. All right, Yanni. Yeah, I listen. I'm in Indiana, as you know. I have a couple casinos. I have every legalized book, and I will tell you, just in the last 6 months, I've been able to get. I mean, 6,000 is kind of nothing compared to some of these. I've been able to get 6,000 down on a Contender Series fight by small amounts on different books. I've been able to get the same amount down on cricket, small amounts on different books. I was able to get 3,000 down on a darts play, small amount on different. These guys get caught because they get greedy.
Yeah, that's what happens. Greedy. That's the goal.
That's what happens in all of these. Every single time they get caught, not because they got caught, it's because they drew attention themselves by getting greedy. So I don't know what to let's get to the Steve report. That was a great segment here. So let's start with NFL. Any significant moves? Football. Are we all good?
It really is all about football this week. And we talked about it a little earlier about how the earlier in the week, how the talk's going to be. They're so heavy on Team A. With the national championship and with the NFL playoffs, it's not as one-sided until you get to like the conference championship or the Super Bowl. In fact, it's good balance. Like I've seen books put out their percentages and how there's 80% on San Francisco as a dog, or there's 80% on New England or whatever. Maybe ticket count early on, but I think as you get closer to kickoff, the money bet's going to be a lot more balanced, and the market's going to reflect it. Like, again, the way you could decide whether I'm right or wrong is just look at the line on Sunday. Like, if they move 3 points, then I'm wrong, and they're one-sided. But if they stay static like they are and they're not moving, then it means they have good balance. They don't have much risk, and I think that's what's going to end up happening. Buffalo, Denver, real quickly, we already seen the sharp money jump on the Denver side. A little bit of a surprise because power rating wise, most have Buffalo as the number one team in the NFL. I think this has to do with home field advantage. Both of these teams had a weak strength of schedule. Obviously, Buffalo's loaded on offense. Denver's loaded on defense. But now you have Denver at 1.5. So you're now looking at a teaser for Buffalo, a plus EV teaser, because you're able to go through 3, 4, 6, 7. Now, if you get one on the other side, you're gold. So what you need right now is for Seattle to get up to 7.5 or 8. If you could get Seattle up to 7.5 or 8, then you want to tease Buffalo and Seattle, regardless of your opinion on the game. Again, you're placing a plus EV bet. This is the equivalent of walking up to the roulette wheel and they're telling you this next roll, we're going to give you 50-1 on a number. You know, there's only 38 numbers. You should be getting 38-1. That's fair. They usually give you 35-1. That's their edge. But now they're giving you 50-1. You're getting the best of it. You have to place a bet. You have to pick a number. You're getting the best of it. Doesn't mean you're going to win, but you're now in the advantageous position. So if you could get Buffalo plus 7.5 and Seattle gets to that 7.5 or 8, closes around there, then you have a plus EV teaser. Otherwise, you're going to have to tie it into Indiana on Monday night. And I can't confirm we're plus EV there, boys, because it's college football. I've been told, not from the quants, that we shouldn't be teasing college football. And I trust the quants because they're smarter than me. But I do know last year in the national championship, one of the groups I moved for did tease the game. So they thought it was a good bet. So I'm just throwing that out there. Indiana, Buffalo, Seattle, all within that Wong teaser number. Finally, Seattle, San Francisco. You're getting San Francisco sharp money at 7.5. You're getting public money on San Francisco as well. Houston and New England. New England got steam early, got through that key number, went through 2.5, 3, now at 3.5. 3 juiced at most shops now. You're getting some Houston love. And then Rams, Chicago. You're seeing 4 at some of the sharp shops, but you are getting love from the public on Chicago, especially on the money line. I think a lot that are betting Chicago come Sunday, they're going to bet them to win that game. Rams on the road. So not much has changed as far as the NFL. Again, the highest risk for the books right now is the 49ers, followed by the Patriots. And then on the totals, the biggest risk is under in the 49ers game. And then probably, believe it or not, under in the Broncos game. And I'm not sure whether that's because sharp money came in and went under 47 at the opener, and that's where the risk came in, or whether public's piling on as well. It just seems strange to me that the public would be betting the under on Buffalo, Denver.
That's my quantitative. If anyone can tell me what that quote is from in the movie in the chat, shout out to you. Seth, what's Yanni's value on Darnold if he doesn't play? We have this weird oblique injury. They're kind of making it seem like it's a no-nothing thing, but like JH and I were talking about, you see an oblique injury on a pitcher in baseball, that's a 4-week injury, and they're just kind of like, no big deal. Oh, man, Riley is on it. Yanni, I didn't think many people were going to get that movie reference, but Riley got it. The Big Short, easy fall by Riley.
Yes. Here's what we have to look at. We have to look at value over replacement player. So if he's not playing, who comes in? Drew Lock, right? It's Drew Lock. What do we have with Drew Lock? Not much, right? He threw 3 passes, 3 attempts, 2 completions in 2026. So we don't have all that much history, right?
I think quarterbacks. I think the books are starting to really value quarterbacks a lot more. It used to be like a quarterback was like what, -2, -3. I think
now you look, see, and here's the thing. Look at his QBR. We look at a career QBR, and he's got a decent sample size. He threw 6,000 yards, 900 attempts. He's got a 78.8 QBR. When we look at Darnold, what's he this year? I'd have to look at that, and if I had to guess, I'd say it's a lot higher. So the drop-off is going to be significant, maybe, or maybe it isn't. I think that's what it's going to come down to, the drop-off. And he hasn't played all that great, I think, of late, right? But
I would think the books. I think you got to go to that 3 number. Right now it's 7.5. If you're the books, would you do it 3.5 or 2.5?
It's not moving. Like, I trust the market, and if the market hasn't reacted, I think he's fine.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. Yeah,
like if you would have seen that light up on Odds Logic, it would have lit up. Someone's going to try to get ahead of that information because it's on a key number of 7. So even being able to get that 7, if it closes at 6 in the NFL, so huge. And if he's out, it's going to go drop a couple points. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's go to basketball real quick. You got anything in college basketball today? Anything in NBA?
Couple plays. I'd be cautious on the early moves. These were overnights. I tend not to give them out to subscribers. Mostly are getting out ahead, especially on a small board like this. And it is all public sides. They're betting Creighton. They took Creighton at a pick. They took DePaul -3, and they took Ohio -3.5. All of those look to me to be heavy one-sided public sides. So watch that screen, at least the WagerTalk free odds screen, and see any buyback later in the day, because those could be setups for sure. In the NBA, I always say I'm very cautious what I share because it's always injury based, and that's so time sensitive. once it's factored into the price, the value's gone. Knowing the player's out means nothing. Now they have such a big sample size of these players not playing. They pretty much know what to quantify them. But they did bet Brooklyn. They took Brooklyn and flipped that favorite. They laid the points on Indiana immediately at opener at -3. They took Philadelphia, who lost on primetime last night. That was the TV game against Cleveland. So I think a little recency bias there. They laid immediately when that line opened, the 1.5. That will probably get the 3 on Philadelphia. And then Sacramento. I don't know if there's someone out there because that one went up from 5 up to like 7.5, but then a little bit of take back. So nothing really big sticking out in NBA or college basketball, small board. It's all waiting for tomorrow's big board of college basketball and, of course, divisional round of the playoffs to kick off.
Yeah, the Sacramento revolves around Domantas Sabonis.
There you go.
Questionable. So whatever they know more than we do. So whatever the markets are telling you, they're kind of telling you Sabonis's status here. David wants to know, Yanni, how does Buffalo with a bad defense but Josh Allen equal to Denver, who you would say Denver's got the weaker quarterback but the better defense? So we got quarterback edge.
Here's the key. To me, I have no bias, brother. I don't like Buffalo. I don't like Denver. If I do Sunday, it'll happen because I'll bet one of those teams. I'm not a fan. Please trust me when I tell you that. Here's what my numbers tell me. That Buffalo had the 26th toughest strength of schedule, Denver the 31st. So only one team had an easier strength of schedule than Denver. That's the New England Patriots, okay? So that's established that Buffalo had the tougher strength of schedule. That's not me. That's the betting lines that establish that and the records of these teams. Next, Buffalo has the second best offense against that strength of schedule. Denver has the 17th most efficient offense against that strength of schedule. So weaker strength of schedule, 15 positions better on offense as far as efficiency goes on the Denver side. Defensively, Denver 6th in efficiency. They're not number 1, not number 2, not number 3 even. They're number 6, so they're outside the top 5, and that's against the 31st toughest schedule. Buffalo has the 15th toughest defense. Again, average, but against a little better strength of schedule. So these teams are very comparable. It's a coin flip type of game. That's why they're letting the market decide. On power ratings, neutral field, Buffalo would probably be about a 1.5, 2-point favorite at the most. Now they're making Denver the favorite because they got about a 2-point home field advantage. Again, who's better? That Saturday game's not going to determine that because they're only going to play 60 minutes and the ref could determine that. A bad call could determine that. But I'm just telling you on paper, this line's pretty tight. It's where it should be with one team about a 1-point favorite over the other. They're very, very comparable teams. And that's why they're letting us be the deciding factor. And I think that's why the teaser offers some value. I think Denver wins the game. Hopefully they don't do it by margin because I'll probably end up teasing.
Roy wants to know, what are some heavy sharp plays?
Oh, that's going to happen.
Give him the speech about not all sharp plays win. Not every day we have huge sharp plays. You got to kind of be careful. We want to give you as much information as possible, but
whatever we have, we share. Whatever we have, we share. Now, again, yesterday's theme sheet had all of the NFL, had the college football in there. Every day it's in there. It hasn't changed. I've been sharing what's been bet in the NFL. The big stuff's going to come on game day. Player props, team totals, first halves. That's where the gold comes in. Luckily, I'm here for last call on Saturday and Sunday, so we'll see if we have any of that stuff. But otherwise, it's like I told you. Seattle got steamed early. San Francisco got steamed late. New England got steamed early. The under in Buffalo, Denver got steamed. The under in the Rams, Chicago got steamed. Indiana and under got steamed on Monday. But that's all early and at different numbers than where it sits right now. And again, lines move, opinions change, value switches. That's just how markets work.
All right, Yanni, big weekend. Tell everyone what you have up.
But here's the beauty. Here's the beauty. I have up already Saturday's package for NFL, Sunday package for NFL. I think I got like 4% already for this weekend's NFL. I have the Monday side in total in the national championship. So now all I'm waiting for is any player props. Those will be added to that package for free pending confirmation. And I wasn't sure we were going to have one. We didn't have one in the, what's it called? in the bowls. We only had one throughout the bowls, but firing a 5% in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Just confirmed it. It will be on Sunday. That package is up right now for $29. In about 15 minutes, it'll be $39. So if you're jumping on with me Sunday, get on that now because I just confirmed my 5%. We are in action. Side total for every game on Sunday. So, yeah, I like the NFL, man. I trust my numbers. Finished number one when the season was over. Let's just keep it going. Bad last week on Sunday, but Saturday was good. Best of luck, Yanni. Good luck to you. I know you got some big plays coming.
We got a lot of big plays. Thank you, Yanni.
Three of your big plays last week, though.
I did. I went 2 of 3, 5% play. I had a 4% boxing play this morning. It was in Australia, so it was like at 7:00 this morning. No contest.
Thanks, thanks, brother. Yeah, I had to splurge a little bit on myself, especially with gold going up. I figure, it's not a bad little investment, and sometimes you got to treat yourself to something nice. But yeah, best of luck to everyone, and you have a 5% in UFC coming up as well. I actually have
my from Saturday. Meeting. Let's do it. I have
my production meeting with the UFC today for next week's card. So excited to break that down with you. And I know Teddy's waiting to come up next. He's got some gold for you. So best of luck. When it comes to NBA and NFL, that's who you want to listen to. So best of luck to everybody this weekend.
Thank you, Yanni. Appreciate you, brother. As always, Yanni just gets us hyped for the weekend, gets us excited and hyped up. We're going to keep the momentum going here. Let's just go right into Teddy covers here. Teddy, it does look like we did a poll here in the NBA. So Pelicans Pacers is definitely going to be the game that we do the race for the number one spot. But we'll do that here at the end. You're going to break down Rams, Bears, Miami, Indiana. But yeah, just finishing thoughts on this point shaving scandal. We talked about just, how much money they get down, but just what are your thoughts when you see stories like this?
Well, it's worth noting that there were multiple times that they allegedly, and these are all allegations, nothing's been proven in a court of law yet. So, but the multiple times where they allegedly bought players and still lost the bets. They had 195 on Fordham against Duquesne on February 24th. Fordham still won because and they had the Fordham guys were supposedly in on the fix. It didn't matter. Duquesne didn't hit shots. They didn't win. So they took a bath on that game. And even when you have multiple players in theory, it doesn't ensure that the fix is in. That game, they tried to fix it and didn't get the job done.
Yeah, I always look at these and I just go, man, you guys had a good thing going. Why did you have to bet so much? You could have probably strung this thing out for a long, long time, but they just couldn't help themselves. And once those bets get bigger, like they say, like someone tried to put down a couple $100,000 at a Kentucky casino that they'd never bet at before. And it was like, moron. Like, that's the guy that ruins it.
Yeah. I mean, that's,
we had this happen. We had a good thing going with NASCAR on a certain book, and one of my buddies couldn't help himself. He bet too much, and they took it all down. And it's like greed somehow just ruins everything when you got something like that going. So let's go to the national championship game. My Hoosiers, Joe Ranieri's Miami Hurricanes. You were pretty big on Indiana last week. I was of the opinion whoever won Oregon, Indiana was probably going to beat Miami. But now we got to deal with this big point spread. We're up to -8.5. What's your take on this game here? Does Miami have a shot? All the public money seems to be coming out on Indiana right now, over under 47.
So this game's getting two-way action at the current number. We saw a lot of Indiana money at the open. At the current numbers, I'm seeing pretty close to two-way action. There's certainly Miami support in the marketplace. It is not a runaway line for the Hurricanes and the Hoosiers. And again, looking at the Odds Logic live odds screen right now, we're talking Indiana 8.5, the prevailing number, total 47. So you talk about the intriguing matchups. The most intriguing matchup might be the Miami's defense coordinator, Corey Heatherman, against Indiana's head coach, because those two worked together at James Madison for several years. Heatherman won assistant coach of the year one year under Signetti, for what it's worth. So it's a Miami defensive coaching staff that's very familiar with what Indiana wants to do on the offensive side of the football. We look at Miami, they only 2 losses all year. 1 by a field goal, 1 by 6 in overtime. So they haven't lost by this margin all year. We've seen Miami here in the postseason. They win a low-scoring defensive scrum against A&M. They were able to win against the defending national champs in a medium-scoring game against Ohio State. And then last week in a high-scoring game against Ole Miss. So they've shown they can win in different styles. You know, you can win low-scoring games. You can win shootouts. And you beat the defending national champs. That means you're blowing up the line of scrimmage. And you're doing things right on both sides of the football. They're a hard team to bet against. And yet, if I'm getting involved in this game, and I am, there's no way I'm playing Miami. Okay? And there's no take on the total either. Indiana, as a total-wise, they're a really hard team to bet because they allowed 15 or less 12 times in 15 games. An elite defensive squad, and they scored 30 plus 11 times those 15 games. An elite offensive squad. They just lit up Oregon. They just lit up Alabama. You have the Heisman Trophy winner. You have the number 1 draft choice at quarterback. Indiana's not an over team, they're not an under team. And Miami doesn't correlate with one or the other. We've seen them play low-scoring games and high-scoring games here in the postseason. But the biggest issues for me are threefold. First, Carson Beck versus Fernando Mendoza. Sorry, I ain't betting Carson Beck in that matchup. Second, Mario Cristobal, and I know I talked about Miami's defense coordinator, but their head coach is Cristobal. I do not trust Cristobal in games management like I do Cignetti. Not even close. And the third factor that puts me here, all right, I stepped in front of Indiana once this year. I remember the game very well. I had Maryland plus 21.5 at home, and the game was over in the first quarter. The Hoosiers won 55-10. And at that day, we talk about how we re-handicap games. I call it my post-mortem. After the day, I went back and looked, and I made a conscious decision after that loss. I'm like, I am not betting against Indiana anymore. I'm not going to do it. All right. The betting markets haven't caught up with this team in 2 years. I haven't caught up with this team in 2 years. Let's flip the switch and start betting on Indiana instead of betting against them. That's served me well in recent weeks and recent months. So the Hoosiers are a one-way team. If I'm not betting on them, I'm not playing the game. I can't play the total. I don't want to step in front of Indiana here. So it's Indiana or pass, plain and simple. There's a line value problem, all right? Indiana, they were plus 3.5 on a neutral against Ohio State. Miami, the following game against Ohio State, was plus 8 on a neutral against the Buckeyes. So that indicates there's 4.5 points worth of difference. The look headline here was 5.5. The markets opened 7, and it got bet up 8.5, the prevailing number. So a line that should be 4.5, 5.5 is now 8.5. That's not a value equation, but I'm telling you flat out, I ain't stepping in front of Indiana. Hoosiers are pass for this better.
It's pretty interesting that this James Madison coaching tree, they go from Cignetti ends up being a stud. Chesney, who looked like he's a stud, and didn't they just hire Billy Napier? Kind of one of these things is not like the other.
So
kind of interesting.
Napier's track record before his last stint was bet on all the way. He's the type of coach you want. He's a Cignetti of the world, where he's super methodical, and it didn't work out for him. That happens sometimes in some places, but I think Napier there's upside with Napier as a head coach. I'll leave it at that.
I agree. Listen, James Madison, pretty good run on coaches so far. They've done well for themselves. We're going to do sell me in a bit, but we got to get your take on the Rams and the Bears. Good friend John Hoagland, JH, Chicago native. He's the producer today. Are you going to break his heart here, Teddy? What are you going to do with this Rams versus Bears game?
So I'm going to lean. This is not a bet for me for the Rams and the Bears. It really isn't. And the key factor, if you talk about anything else, the first thing we got to talk about is the weather forecast in Chicago. The high is 20, the low is 2. There's a chance of snow. And the game, not the early game, it's the late game. It's at night. Game starts 5:30 local time. This is not LA Rams weather. This is not Matthew Stafford weathered. And yeah, we say Stafford in the cold at Philly last year. Sure. 26 of 44, 324, 2 touchdowns, no picks. I heard Sean McVay talking about it. But Stafford in cold, rain, or snow since joining the Rams, he's 1-9 straight up. And a noticeably lower completion percentage for quarterbacks in general with temperatures below 20 degrees. Now, the narrative is that Stafford played in the cold for years, and he's used to it. I lived in Michigan for years. I moved to Las Vegas, and I'm telling you, I went back. It was the third winter, and it was like I'd never spent a winter I never lived in the cold before. Stafford's old. He left the cold 5 years ago. Devontae Adams too. I do not expect the best game from Matthew Stafford and the LA Rams here. The Bears were -2 in turnovers last week, and they still won. It's not just positive turnover differential. It's also a quarterback who has played a lot of refuse to lose. And that being said, LA, the only team to win without covering last week. So when you talk about betting bandwagons, the bigger betting bandwagon right now for the Bears than there is for the Rams, even with all the hype for LA. And look, I mean, every stat shows LA's the better team. You know, they had a realistic chance to win all 5 games they lost this season. They had the blocked field goal in Philly. They had the 2-point overtime, 2-point conversion in overtime against Seattle. They had the overtime loss to San Fran. They lost by a field goal to Atlanta and Carolina, both on the road. Both games they lost a turnover battle. You know, LA's the better team. It feels like the Bears are on borrowed time. And statistically, the Bears, the worst team left in the playoffs. You know, they're minus 0.3 yards per play. All right. Number 16 in DVOA. All right. Yards per play on defense, number 29. All right. The Rams rank much higher in all of those categories than the Chicago Bears. You know, but at the same time, that Rams defense, a little bit suspect. They've allowed 27 or more 4 times their last 5 games. They were just in the highest scoring game of the weekend last week and needed to win in a shootout against a not elite offense. Facing a better offense here. So it's not strong. Slight lean towards the Rams, slight lean towards the over, even in the weather, because I don't trust the defenses, but neither's going to be a client play for me on Sunday night in Chicago. Lean LA, lean over, but they're just leans at the current prices.
I'm glad you're here because I was talking to JH about this. He's from Chicago. My family's from Wisconsin. You were in Michigan. The cold that comes off those lakes is just a little different. It just hits different, doesn't it? Like, I don't know what it is. It's snappy. It's whippy. It's piercing. It just is really cold with that wind coming off the lake.
If you spend a winter in Illinois or in Michigan or in Wisconsin, or it doesn't matter if you're on the lake or not, it's freaking cold, dude.
Yes, I'm just telling you, when I go to Wisconsin, I'm like, the cold is different up here than it is down here in Indiana. I don't know what it is. So, yeah, it's bone chilling. Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. We had a Have, if you like Bears, do you just play Moneyline here in this one, Teddy? You gave the stat about Stafford, or I mean, it's not a strong play, but
so I wouldn't argue with them. You know, in general, when I take any underdog in any pro sport, NFL, NBA, I'm going to put something on the money line. All right. How much I put on the money line, I rarely make it a full money line bet. Sometimes I'll split it 50-50. Normally the ratio is 2 to the point spread, 1 to the money line. Sometimes I'll make a 3-to-1 ratio. Sometimes I'll make a 4-to-1 ratio when we're talking about bigger dogs. But that ratio risk reward is for you to decide with your bankroll. That's how I do it.
Fair.
So I'll put something on the money line, but I usually don't put everything on the money line. The question is, do you want to make a profit? Do you want to break even if they win, if they don't win, or do you want to make a profit if they don't win? And that's your question. And I tend to like to make a profit if they don't win straight up. Which means a smaller money line size wager.
All right, we're going to do sell me, but tell everyone what you have up. We have a huge weekend, NFL, NBA, everything. What do you got for us?
I mean, this is it, you know. I mean, after this weekend, we have 3 football games left. So it's a great time. And of course, with this incredible deal we have right now, buy 7 days for the price of 3. I mean, it's $69. It's going to get you every play through next Thursday. If you sign up today, or if you want to sign up tomorrow, every day through play through next Friday. Less than $10 a day, you're going to get. I got a pair of plays up in the NFL playoffs for this weekend. One side, one total, including a 4% best bet. I have the national championship game up. Obviously, there's going to be hoops with NBA. Still ranked number 1 at NBA at WagerTalk, dating back to 2022. Up 188 units of profit for the clients during that span. So great time to get on board. Check out my homepage, www.buzz.com/TC.
All right, it is time for Sell Me. I will go over it. So here's how the segment Sell Me works is Dan's not here, so we just randomly pick a game. We did a poll. And normally the segment is better when you're dealing with two bad teams. Teddy and I have to fight it out. So what happens is we randomly pick a game, and then we each get assigned one team that we don't know beforehand, and we have to make the case on the spot for that team why they will cover. And you guys can win a 3-day pass. After the show is over, in the comments section, simply put Teddy or Andy, which side you think is right, and then your WagerTalk username. So Teddy, WagerTalk username, Andy, WagerTalk username. We will randomly pick one, and you will win a 3-day pass. Since Dan isn't here, Teddy, I have the coin of destiny. So the game that we're going to pick is going to be the Pacers and the Pelicans. Pacers will do 3.5 as the line, right? That work? Here we go.
Sure, sounds great. Which one of these two dogs do I have to make a case for?
All right, heads. I'm going to do it. Heads, you get Pacers. Tails, you get Pelicans. The coin is up, and it is heads. You get the Pacers because I put an extra E in there. You get my Pacers minus 3.5. Make the case why my Indiana Pacers are going to cover against this Pelicans team.
So for what it's worth, looking at the odds logic live on screen right now, I'm seeing mostly 4s on the board for Indiana. So you can find a 3.5. You're doing something right. Look at that. I'm making a case. You're getting the best of the number at 3.5. So that makes it super easy to look at the Indiana side of the equation. But let's be real. Okay, the Pacers are underachieved big time over the first half of the season. The season's only at the halfway point right now. Most teams have played right in the range of 41 games. So there's still a whole another half of the season to be played here in the NBA. And by the way, Indiana's 4-1 ATS, 3-1 4-1 ATS, 3-2 straight up their last 5. That includes a 4-point spread covering loss to Cleveland. But they just beat Charlotte. They just beat Miami. They just beat Boston over the course of the last week, taking care of business against better squads than New Orleans, a team that's on a little bit of an uptick right now. Pelicans aren't on an uptick. And they're certainly, for all the talent New Orleans has, boy, they find ways to lose games. They find ways to put together one miserable quarter or one miserable half in just about every contest. Indiana playing good. New Orleans not so much. Lay it.
All right. I have to make the case for the New Orleans Pelicans. Well, Teddy, Pelicans are on a hot streak. They won 2 out of 4. And they kept it close against Denver. Only lost by 6, lost by 10, but that was at Orlando. That's a pretty decent team. My case for the Pelicans is that, first off, line movement on the Pacers is a tragedy, and the Pacers learned their lesson. They got a little cute. They won 3 games in a row, and somebody stepped in and said, what are we doing? We're going to lose our draft pick. Let's keep losing here, guys. Let's get back to our losing ways. What happens? They get blown out by a Toronto team that, not too much. The motivation here is for the Pelicans. They don't have their draft pick. They traded it. Pelicans need to win this game. Pacers need to lose this game. They are in a race to the bottom here. So I get an Indiana Pacers team that won 3 in a row against a couple bad teams there. That rock fight against Boston, 98-96. Come on. Who wins an NBA game scoring 98 points now these days? Their point totals in the last 2 games, 101 and 98. Meanwhile, I get a Pelicans team that's just put up 116, 116, 118 and 128. I get the better offense here. I get a team that doesn't want to lose against a team that does want to lose. It's Pelicans and a little sprinkle on the money line. That's my case for the Pels. Boy, some bad teams. Two really rough teams.
So you said actually in that announcement, you said, well, New Orleans has to win this game. New Orleans coming off a win this year. By the way, they won their last game. Check out their ATS. They're straight up an ATS record coming off a win. They're not a team. They had that one winning streak. They did win, I think, 4 or 5 in a row in December, but that was it.
One of them a 19-point win against the Pacers.
There you go.
19 points against the Pacers. So, all right, Teddy, great job. You broke down the Pacers and why you should bet on the Pacers. I broke down the Pelicans again. Comment section after the show, Teddy or Andy, and your username, and we are going to pick a winner for a free 3-day pass. Teddy, thank you so much. Appreciate you. You make Football Fridays awesome, and good luck this weekend, brother.
You make Football Fridays awesome. You're beautiful. Don't ever change. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend. Cheers.
Teddy covers We had a couple questions about the boxing. Oh, you want me to do the sprinkle again? Yeah, a little sprinkle there. We had our boxing best bet that went off at 7 a.m. this morning because it was in Australia. So what happened was, guys, the fight was going on in the third round. There was a head clash. One of the fighters couldn't see, so the doctor waved it off. So it got ruled a no contest. So kiss your sister type of situation. But those of you that got the boxing play, not much we could do about it. So we move on from it. So we are still running the special. Myself and Joe Ranieri, $99. You get my plays for 7 days and Joe's plays for 7 days. Joe does all your spreads, totals on all the main sports. I've got your props covered. I've got your more obscure sports covered. Like we have a golf play that's going off today. We have all of your player props for NBA, for NHL, and we're going to have a best bet that is up for NFL this weekend. Also, if you get it tomorrow, we have a 5% UFC that takes place next Saturday. So this is set to expire tonight, but I'm going to extend it to tomorrow. I'll have customer service extend this thing. That way you get it tomorrow, you get all of our weekend plays, plus next Saturday, that includes my 5% UFC best bet. So 2026 off to a really good start. Really happy with everything. We're cruising right along, well on schedule, building bankrolls. So really, really excited about that. It's called the Who Hurricane Special, $99. It's basically buy one, get one free. Myself and Joe Ranieri combined into one package. All right, let's bring on Marco. What's up, Marco? How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I feel smarter listening to that breakdown of Indiana and New Orleans.
Listen, the people don't like it when we do like a big game. They want the trash of the garbage heap of the games. So, Margo, we're gonna break down games at the end though. Dan's not here. We normally do like a free contest at the end. So I'm gonna enter a free contest. You and me. We're going to pick the spread on all 4 NFL games. So impromptu, you and I are entered in a free contest. All right.
Okay. Thanks for the heads up.
It's a free it's free, Marco. There's no stake. So,
no problem.
All right. College basketball. We're going to start with college basketball, and we're going to go to Baylor in Kansas. Pretty open on the show. I don't know too much about college basketball. I don't handicap it. So tell us a little bit about these teams and what do you expect from this game?
Well, when you look at Kansas, you got to decide which one's going to show up. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, because this team, they're 7-1 straight up at home, but they're just 1-3 on the road. But Kansas is coming off a monster win. Their last game the other night, they handed undefeated number 2 Iowa State its first loss of the season, and they did it in blowout fashion, 84-63. So normally I would be looking to fade a fat and sassy Kansas team coming off a big win like that. If this game was tomorrow, buried among the 100 or so college basketball games that'll be going on tomorrow, but no, it's on Friday night and it's on Fox, so it's going to be a primetime game. There's only 7 college basketball games tonight. This is the premier game. So I don't see Kansas having that letdown. Baylor's coming off a blowout of their own, but it was over Oklahoma State. No big deal. They're not a good basketball team. Hope Joe's not listening. He doesn't like Oklahoma State getting bad mouth, but, you got to talk the facts there. You look at this Oklahoma State, or excuse me, if you look at Baylor, prior to that Oklahoma State game, they shot just 37, 30, and 36% from the field in their previous 3 games. That's going to be a problem because this Kansas team has held 10 of its 17 opponents this year to 39% or less shooting. I'm going to go ahead and look at Kansas here. They're only 2-2 in their last 4 games. But if you look at the 2 losses, and I'm a big situational guy, and I look at scheduling, travel, and everything else, they lost those 2 games in a matter of 3 games. What they had to do, and this is one of the things with conference realignment, and it's even tougher in basketball because remember, in football, you play 1 game a week. In basketball, you're playing 2-3 games sometimes in a week span. This is what Kansas had to do. They had to fly to Florida to play Central Florida. They lost. Then they returned home back to Kansas to to play TCU in a barn burner, 104-100 in overtime, in which they won. Turned around after that game and flew to West Virginia. Now, you don't have to be, a geography major to understand that these teams in the Big 12, when you have teams like West Virginia and you have teams like Central Florida, those are not close to most of the teams in the Big 12. So they present travel problems. That was a horrible stretch for Kansas, and it explains why they lost those 2 games, in my opinion. That was 3 games in 7 days, all in different cities, going all different directions. I'm going to go ahead. They get to stay home for a second game tonight. TV game, prime time, Rock Chalk Jayhawks. Lay it. I have them winning this one by 13.
Ooh. All right. Marco's calling for a little alt spread. Don't you threaten me with a good time. We're gonna go.
You know what? If it's a Friday night, Andy, and your good time is alternate lines, I think we got to step your game up a little bit. Okay.
Marco, I'm watching the Bahrain Masters of Darts on another screen, and I have the Sony Open on another. Like, this is kind of what we do. So, real quick, someone asked, do we do anything refund for the boxing play that got ruled a no contest? I am checking with customer service right now, so I will check and let you guys know. We're going to talk Texans Patriots, but I got to get your take on the Steelers situation. Mike Tomlin out. Marco, I listened to a podcast before the Steelers lost, and someone was like, I have a conspiracy theory that Tomlin's going to throw the game so he can go take the Ravens job.
Well, you saw the Ravens owner. He was pretty funny in his response in a rare press conference appearance. He was laughing about it as well. Here's the thing. Back on December 5th, right here on this show, I said this is the way it was going to play out. The end of the season, he was going to resign. They don't fire coaches in Pittsburgh. He resigned. Where he's going to land next, everybody's speculating he's going to go to the broadcaster's booth or, halftime or pregame analysis. And, he loves to use words. You've heard all of the Tomlin isms, as they like to call them, the standard and all that. We'll see what happens. If he wants to coach, he'll be hired right away. But remember, here's the difference with him resigning versus being fired. By him resigning, the Steelers still own the contract rights to him for 2 years, which means if a team does hire him as their coach, the Steelers are going to have to get some form of compensation, whether it be a draft pick or a player trade, something they will get. So that's the only thing that's going to hang over, his head as far as getting, a job, how much, the Steelers, want for that. But we'll see how it plays out. It was time. I don't have anything against Mike Tomlin. He was too stubborn to change with the way the NFL is. I made the joke, 2007 called, Mike. They want their offense back. Okay, this is 2025. You got to change with the times, and they never did.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, it is fair. You go down the list and it's just like, you got to have a young offensive minded team in the way the NFL works. Here's the most intriguing part. And you talked about it with Kurt Cignetti at James Madison in the coaching tree that's already coming from that, the short time that he's been a head coach and where he's been in the places he's been. In the 19 years that Mike Tomlin has been a head coach, and never had a losing season, there is not one limb on the Mike Tomlin coaching tree. Nobody has gone out and become a head coach that has done anything. You could say, Bruce Arians was under Cowher. That's the only guy that, that went and did anything. It is wild to say that. It is bonkers. You're right. When I heard that, I was like, yeah, who did come out from under top? Meanwhile, you got McVay and Shanahan, like guys are just like coming out left and right. So, well, let's talk this Texans Patriots team. Talk about coaching. How did Vrabel sit out a year, by the way? How did Vrabel not get gobbled up by somebody? That was bizarre. So, all right, we got this Texans team. Nico Collins is not going to play. We saw the Texans, their defense is nasty. Stroud makes a lot of mistakes. You got the Patriots here as -3. There's some -3.5s as well, over under 40.5. Books are expecting a low-scoring game. How do you break this one down?
Well, obviously, you look at these are the two teams that delivered the most lopsided wins of last week in what was a wild card weekend. But both games, even though they became blowouts at the end, they were tight games, halfway through the third quarter. Houston and New England pulled away in the fourth quarter. To me, I think Houston's win was more impressive. It was on the road. And for all the things that we've said bad about Pittsburgh and everything, it's still tough to go into Pittsburgh on a Monday night on the road and win a game. And they did that, and they did it with 3 CJ Stroud turnovers, in the first half. Most teams, that would have been the end of the story. Their playoff run would have came to an end with 3 turnovers like that. But this defense is so good. They shut Pittsburgh down after every one of those, turnovers, had to settle for a field goal, and Pittsburgh just couldn't get anything going at all until late in the game, when the game was decided. The key for me is the defense, and I always say, you give me the better defense getting points, I'm going to look there. The New England defense looked really good last week, okay? They shut down the Chargers, but let's be honest. The Chargers' offensive line, it's got so many injuries, and they had no answer for New England. New England put pressure on Justin Herbert all night long. He was under duress. And when he did get the football out of his hands before somebody was on top of him, he did complete passes, okay? The Houston line is much better than the Charger line. They're going to be able to give CJ Stroud a little more protection. And if he just holds on to the football, don't hold it like a loaf of bread, we should be okay if he doesn't turn it over. But on the flip side, what the Chargers did, they kept New England in check for most of the game. What they didn't keep in check was Drake May beating them with his running. I think he had like 11 rushing attempts in that game or something. He continued to move the chains. He's not a great runner, don't get me wrong, but the timing of the runs where he saw the defenses turn their backs and look to cover downfield, he took off, got the yardage for the first down, and moved the chains. That was huge. Houston's not going to do that. 1, because they have the better defense, and 2, they got to see the game film, okay? You're an idiot if you don't have a guy as a spy to stay on the line to make Drake May have to beat this defense with his arm instead of his feet. I'm going to go ahead and take Houston in this one, plus the points. Houston's held 9 of their last 12 opponents to 100 or fewer yards rushing. That's going to force Drake May to have to make plays through the air. For the season, 15 of 18 opponents have been held to 21 or less points. But what I'm going to tell you here with this play, Andy, we've seen that it's sitting at 3. We saw a couple 3.5s, then it came back to 3. But right now it's sitting at 3 juiced. I think when we get to Sunday, the public, when they start to bet, because what people, and I know VR's probably talked about this numerous times, the public doesn't bet till Sunday. Okay, because most people, if it's a account where you got to have your money in the account, you're not tying up your NFL money on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, because you need the money in your account to bet basketball Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They play on game day. And when they get to game day, they're going to bet New England in this game. And I think you'll see the 3.5s pop back up.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I'm from Indianapolis. I can't freaking believe I got to support and root for the Patriots, but I got to agree with you on that one. So, Marco, we got sauce of the week, and then we're going to enter the free contest that I did not tell you about. Which is going to be great. Tell everyone what you have up, and then give us the sauce of the week.
All right. Well, what we've got up, Teddy said it. This is the best deal going, guys. The $49 Weekend Warrior is a very popular package. But stop and think, guys. We tell you about value plus EV, okay? Get the best of the number. Well, if you could get to, a weekend, Saturday and Sunday for $49, and for $20 more, we're going to give you 7 days, which is the price of 3 days. It's a no-brainer. That's a plus EV play. Pick your favorite capper, buy him for 7 days for $69. You're going to get all of his plays. For me, I'm going to tell you, the drill. We're 41-19. I did lose a 5% last week. First one in a while. 41-19, going back to February of 2024. We're coming up on 2 years. That's a pretty impressive record. College basketball, I love conference play. We're in the heart of conference play right now. Guys, we're hitting for the season in college basketball, 63% for the year. Head on over WagerTalk, grab me for a 7-day package. You'll get everything I have, including a 5% play that sells for $35 by themselves. Check it out over at WagerTalk. Now, for the sauce of the week, I won't tell you the sauce yet, but I'm going to tell you the team. And this one goes to everybody on the freaking team because they all earned the sauce of the week this week. And that's the Green Bay Packers, okay? How in the world do you blow a 27-6 lead going to the fourth quarter, okay? Well, I'm going to tell you how you do that, okay? It's a lot of stupidity, all right? And it's not just from the coaching staff to the players. We talk about football IQ. I know it's not politically correct, but when we're talking about football IQs, I think some of these guys are retarded. I'm sorry. they're mentally challenged on some of the things that happen. Let's start with the end of, the last 4 minutes and 12 seconds of the game. Fourth quarter, Chicago just scored, made the 2-point conversion, and now we're sitting at a 3-point game, 27-24. Green Bay takes over 1st and 10 after the kickoff on their 31-yard line with 4:12 left. I'm pointing out the clock because I want to tell you what this drive consisted of. First play, they pass 2 yards to the right. Guy gets tackled, inbounds, good, clock's running. The second play is 2nd and 8 with 3:27 left. You went from 4:12 to 3:27. That's what you're supposed to do. Jordan Love passes downfield to Romeo Doubs, makes a diving catch, 34-yard gain. He wasn't touched when he made the diving catch. He gets up and tries to run. Okay, he's trying to make a football play. He goes out of bounds. Why do you go out of bounds? You go down in bounds. You keep the clock running. So they gave Chicago an extra timeout by doing that. Next play, 1st and 10 from the Chicago 33. He hands off to Josh Jacobs to the left, no gain, but the clock's running. Well, Chicago has to spend a timeout. That's what you want them to do. But go back to that Romeo Doubs play. That wasn't the most stupidest play of the game. I want to go back to a play in the second quarter, if you remember. On 4th and 6, Chicago goes for it from the Green Bay 40. On 4th and 6, he throws a deep pass down to the 13-yard line. Carrington Valentine, great play, intercepts it. It was 4th down, idiot. Drop the ball. Bat it down. You don't intercept at the 13-yard line when you can take over at your own 40. On 4th down. That's what I was talking about, football IQ. So let me just fast forward to the end. After 8 plays that the Green Bay Packers run, throwing passes, going out of bounds, and then on the 9th play, trying a 44-yard field goal that they missed, you ran 8 plays and elapsed only a minute and 21 seconds of game clock. I don't know how you do that. And then only to be smarter, we got to bring in the coach. I don't know what Matt LaFleur was thinking. He burns a timeout with 2:08 on the clock. He saved 8 seconds before the 2-minute warning, and he didn't have the ball. Chicago had the ball at their own 46, trailing 27-24. I don't understand that, and don't forget, again, stupidity on a 3rd and 10 on a key drive. They called a timeout because you want to get the play right. It's 3rd and 10. You're trying to get a touchdown, not a field goal. 3rd and 10, call timeout, talk about it. All right, I can live with that. They got to delay a game coming out of the timeout. How do you get a delay a game coming out of a timeout? 3rd and 15. All right, so all of that, what kind of sauce do we give this team for this week, Andy? They get no sauce because they're not even getting wings. They're going home. They're going to their room until training camp. They get nothing.
Oh,
you don't deserve anything. I'm like a parent that's
Packers.
scolding their child. Nothing. That's it. Goodbye, Green Bay. I've had enough of you. And yes, Chicago Bear fans, I'm picking on the Bears because I have not seen a team that gets more lucky breaks or more stupidity thrown in their favor than the Chicago Bears.
They should be forced to do a shot of Malort. So,
Andy, have you ever seen a worse clock management in a game?
Not in a big game. You see it in the regular season with some bad coaches, and there's some hopelessness with some of those teams. But in a big game, it was pretty tragic. It was bad. It was bad. So, all right,
yes,
Marco.
I had Green Bay, so there were some sour grapes there involved.
Oh man. Oh yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's do our pick 4. This is a free contest from one of our friends. They got pick 'em on the Bills and the Broncos. When you got to pick 'em, I don't know. I kind of lean. I just want the better quarterback. I think it's Josh Allen. Agree or disagree?
I disagree. I agree that he's the better quarterback, but I disagree that they're going to win the game. Okay. Yes, I agree.
Right, so you want
Josh
Broncos.
Allen.
All right. You want Broncos at the pick 'em. San Fran in this contest 7.5 at Seattle. What do you think?
San Francisco, I don't know how that's a difference in good coaches, how they find a way. But you know what? This Seattle defense next to Houston, they're 1-1A in my opinion. And I just don't see San Francisco. The NFL screwed them having to play Sunday and then come back and play on Saturday against a arrested team. I got to go Seattle.
All right. Seattle 7. Patriots, Texans. +3.5 on this one.
Yep, you already know where I'm at there. We just
all
did
right,
it.
and then the Bears and the Rams. Bears are getting 3.5 points at home. I want the Bears. I want the Bears.
You know what? Every show that I've done this week, I've abstained from making a pick on that game because I'm just tired of having the Bears run me over. But you know what? I'm tired of hearing everybody say, Andy, and how many times have you done this? You're watching a game and this guy's hit 15 field goals in a row. What's he do? He misses that one. If I hear the 1-9 stat one more time about Matthew Stafford, it's just leave it alone. We get it. Okay. We get it. He doesn't win anything, but it's just one of those ones that the Bears, how lucky can they continue? Maybe they're a team of destiny. If you want to sell me on that, I'll take the Bears that way. The team of destiny.
They are the team of destiny. They just keep winning in this weird fashion. Like Ben Johnson is now the king of the post-game locker rooms. It's just not.
And how many stupid things did he do in the first half that helped Green Bay have the lead that they have? Does 4th down mean anything anymore? No, it's we don't care where we're at. It's 4th and 3, 4th and 4. We're going for it.
Yeah, I know. So Rob says Matt LaFleur is the Malort of game management. Yeah, very well said. So, all right, Marco, we got our plays locked in for the free contest. If we win, I will be keeping it all. Thank you for your input.
No problem. You know what? You can go spend it on wings and tell me what sauce.
I will do that. Thank you, Marco. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend, my friend.
You too. Good luck, everybody.
All right, thank you, JH. Good luck to John's Bears this weekend. I'm weirdly rooting, weirdly rooting for the Bears. I just love that team right now. So, and thank you all for watching. Great week of shows. Appreciate for Chris and John stepping in. Fingers crossed that Dan has safely moved across the country. He will be back Monday, and we will be back as well. Good luck on all your plays. Don't forget, myself and Joe Ranieri, buy one, get one for $99. Money is going to be an absolutely epic show on the day of the national championship. I cannot wait, so make sure you're here, same time, same place. Good luck on all your bets this weekend, and we'll see everyone Monday. Take care.